Hey everybody. Can you believe how far we've come since last week when we was just like frustrated about the ultra orthodox parties trying to get this bill passed where the yeshiva boys don't have to go to the army. And I was like so frustrated, like here they want to topple the government and we're fighting on seven fronts, and how could they be doing this? And like now a week later, we are so deeply into this insanely miraculous war against Iran. And it's incredible. Like are um, we are in control of the Iranian skies. Like, what does that even mean? Over Tehran, we are in charge. Like, you just see all of our beautiful planes with the magenta feet on them, just like flying around up in the sky, and like it's beyond. It's unbelievable. We're on day 6. It looks like the 6-day war, an upgraded 6-day war. Um, yeah, it's very exciting. Hashem is doing so many miracles for us. And I guess it seems a little scary when you're outside of Israel, but here it is so obvious that Hashem has our best interests at heart, and we are completely in His hands. You could just see, like, we were moments away from a nuclear bomb possibly coming towards us. I mean, obviously that wouldn't have happened because God is running the show, but they're hitting very, very serious missiles, 100 missiles coming at us, and hitting a hospital who just moments before or 24 hours before had just been evacuated, like the whole top floor had been evacuated, and that's exactly where, in the surgical ward that had just been emptied out, that's where the missile hit. I mean, it's beyond belief. It's unbelievable. Anyway, there's a lot I have to say, but in general, we're okay. You'll see from the picture that's like the front of this video, everybody's okay. Like, kids are having little pools outside, and everyone is really doing all right. I mean, it is unpleasant. There's no question about it. And we're running to our bomb shelters, and those of us who have children, small children, it's for sure unpleasant. And some people get stuck on the highway and are nervous. And I went to a Zumba class this morning, and it seemed like there was an alert, but then it turns out it was an old alert from before. So yeah, people are getting nervous, but it's just unbelievable. The miracles that are happening, very few casualties, very few. There's a lot of damage. There's no question. There's a lot of damage, and it's a challenge. But it's so miraculous, and it's so crazy that it's also like really, really a beautiful and exciting time to be here. It really seems like we are in historic times. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the parsha because it does connect. It's Parshat Shlach, and it's all about the sin of the spies, who, for some bizarre reason, they just like didn't trust God, who took them out of Egypt, who did the 10 plagues, who split the Red Sea, and they still wanted to send people into Israel just to make sure, like, is this really going to work for us? Is there good education in this country? Is there enough like natural resources? Is there, good shopping malls? Is there a Target? Like, really, is there a Costco? Like, we need certain things, like certain amenities. So we just want to check that out before we go in. And, I understand them. They really were nervous. It's interesting because they were the big leaders of the Jewish people. And in fact, I think Tzivot Shalom says, I think he brings it from the Zohar, that the 12 presidents of the tribes that went out to be the spies were actually reincarnations of the 12 tribes. So they were very, very highly spiritual people, very great people. And in fact, it even seems like Moshe himself agreed, or at least he thought it was a good idea. Yeah, let's send the spies. And I think that's a great idea. And he gave them the questions to ask. And now, like, why? How could he do that? Didn't it seem to be such a slap in Hashem's face? It's a very strange thing. And before I get to that, remind me. I do want to point out this idea that out of the 12 spies, first of all, they were all male, obviously. And there is a commentary, the Kliyakar, that says that when it says Shlach lecha anashim, send for you men to be the spies. This is the name of the parsha, Shlach, send out. And God is telling Moshe, you, because you want to do this, you will send males because that's what you want to do. But if it were up to me, I would send females. I would send women, because women know what they're doing when it comes to the land of Israel. Women have emunah, women have trust, women have the ability to let go a little bit, to not get caught up in all the facts and the figures and the calculations, and is this going to work out, and I don't know if I can deal with all this and all the different natural problems and challenges that exist in the land of Israel. So if it were up to me, says Hashem to Moshe, I would send females. But yeah, you want to go send males? Let's see how that works for you. And sure enough, it didn't work out so great, and we have suffered for a millennium because of this. And what happened is they came back with a bad report. They said there are giants in the land, there are fortresses, there are strong people. I don't think we're going to be able to handle it. And as a result, they told the Jewish people this report, and everybody cried on that night, and that night was Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which for thousands of years was only a catastrophic date in Jewish history. Only bad things happen on that night. And it seems like the women did not cry on that night. They didn't cry on that night, and they did not participate in the sin of the spies. Although I must say that they still did suffer, because they still had to go for 40 years in the desert. And in the end, they lost all the men died out from the ages of 20 to 60 in those 40 years. So when they did end up going into the land of Israel, they didn't get the full effect of it, and they walked into the land of Israel lonely old women, who had lost sons, husbands, fathers for sure. So it wasn't easy. And it's an interesting thing, because it seems like the women really could have done more to influence their families, and to take a little bit more action, to be more proactive. And even though, yes, they did have emunah and they did have that trust that everything would be okay, they didn't really do anything to stop the mass hysteria that had occurred. So I just wanted to point that out, that we have a responsibility to fix things up, and maybe we can in our generation. Netivot Shalom says a beautiful thing, that the big mistake that the leaders had, that these men made, was that they did not think that Israel was going to work on miracles. They understood, they believed in God. Of course they believed in God. And Moshe had this different idea for this whole plan of the spies. He thought that it would be a good idea to go into the land of Israel to figure out, because of the intense holiness of the land of Israel, there's of course also going to be some evil forces to balance things out so that people don't lose their free will. That's how God manages the world. So if you're going to go into the land of Israel, we need the leaders of the generation to go in first to prepare spiritually for this country, and to kind of clean out the evil forces, to pave the way for the Jewish people. Just like when in Egypt, when we first went down to Egypt, we didn't go as a nation. We went as a family of the 12 tribes, and they all went down to kind of pave the way for the Jewish people. Hold on one sec. Sorry, I just switched places. It's a little too noisy. In order to pave the way for the rest of the Jewish people to come in and to have to deal with those forces, that's what Moshe had in mind. But that's not what the men themselves, the leaders of the generation at the time, had in mind. They really thought, you know what? Yes, we came out of Egypt, and you guys, Hashem did a lot of miracles for us, but once we go into the land of Israel, that's all over. We have to make our own livelihood. We have to plant vineyards. We have to plant crops. We have to raise children. We have to do everything in a natural way. And says Netivot Shalom, that was completely off base. That was not true at all. And he says, העניין שבכוחו זוכה יהודי לקדושת הארץ היא האמונה. The only way that we are going to merit the holiness of the land and the miracles that happened in the land is to understand and believe בהנהגתה העל-טבעית של ארץ ישראל, that Hashem behaves in this land in a supernatural way. כך הוא זוכה לקדושת הארץ. This is the only way to merit the holiness and the living in the land. ומי שאינו מאמין בזה, אינו יכול להתקיים בה. If you don't believe in the supernatural aspect or nature of this country, you know, it's funny to say nature because I'm saying it's supernatural, but it's the nature of the land is that it's supernatural, is that it's not natural, it's not physical. Everything happens in a miraculous way here. And I think that, and if you don't believe in it, you men, you leaders of the generation, you know, you don't really merit, you shouldn't go in. You don't merit to go in. And that's what we have to understand about the land of Israel right now. We have to understand that Hashem is sending us beautiful, beautiful miracles. A whole top floor of a hospital was evacuated, and there's very little real casualties in this war. It's incredible compared to the amount of missiles being rained down on us with absolutely no regard for human life, with no compassion, no mercy. Like it's unbelievable. And compared to that, we are seeing such love of Hashem. And I think we're all going to merit to see really, really incredible things. And the point I think that we're trying to give over here is not that it's not that you don't believe in nature. Of course, you also have to put in your natural effort into things. We were learning this morning. Yes, we did go out to learn this morning. No problem. Thank you, Debbie. She created a beautiful, first of all, a Zumba class, and then a brunch for us to have in her house. And while we were learning about this particular form of prayer called nipul, and I told you about this last week, about how you fall on your face, nofel, from the root of nofel. Somebody pointed out that it's also from the root of nefilah, which is like these falling bombs or these falling missiles. It's also called nefilah. But anyway, the point is that, you know, if you fall on your face to Hashem and you show Hashem that you are fully relying on Him to take care of all your needs, and you're not just going from door to door like a poor person. You know, you're not just going and asking this person for help and that person for help and this doctor and that country for some aid and this, you know, let's get more soldiers into the army because that's the only way we're going to win this war. No, that's not the only way. The only way you're going to win any war is if Hashem takes care of you. And the only choices we can make, which really make any difference at all, are not physical choices. If we do make physical choices and you do put in effort, that's great, because you do need to put in effort. You need to use your strengths. You need to get in, like you have to be all in life, and you have to use your strengths and talents that Hashem gave you to put in effort and to put yourself into the job at hand. No question about it. But that's not actually what brings you the results. And you have to show Hashem, and if you can show Hashem, that you fully rely on Him with a capital H for the results, and you're only putting in the effort because that's what you're supposed to do, you know, and you don't really rely on this job interview or this strength or talent that you have, or this donor for your cause, or this, you know, whatever it is, like, you don't really fully rely on them. That's not even like a thing for you. And you know that that's not what's going to bring the results. The results are only, you know, from Hashem on the physical side. And the only choices that you can make that are going to bring results are spiritual, which means you need to put in your spiritual effort. That's where things matter, which means we have to go out and take responsibility for every single thing that we're doing. And if it means more mitzvot, more going out there and seeing how we can help people if there's like, it's amazing, like with all the people stuck in Israel, this is where you're supposed to be. But, it feels like they're stuck. They do feel stuck. And I understand that tourists feel stuck, and, they do have families outside of Israel. But the girls, the SEM girls, the Gap Year program girls, are busy finding places where they can volunteer. Either people who had to be evacuated from their homes because their homes were damaged, or with families whose fathers or husbands are at war, so they are in the army, so they came to help, and they're actually able to do a lot of amazing chesed. And if there's something we could do to help other people, to do chesed, to increase Ahavat Yisrael, to calm our children down, to make good food, to be like upbeat, even in a state of war and a state of difficulty. And if we're also able to reach out to Hashem and say, Hashem, I know that everything is going to work out, and not freak out, and see that in Israel, we live on a different plane. That's what Israel is all about. It's about living in a different sphere of understanding, of consciousness, and knowing full well that Hashem is taking full responsibility for you, and that we can fully rely on Him. And that's the form of prayer that has tremendous results. If you can talk to Hashem as if your life depends on it, and your life depends only on Him, and you're not trusting anything else to bring you the results that you're looking for, then Hashem responds in kind. So just like my bracha to everybody is just to, first of all, chill. Okay, take a chill pill, everybody. It's going to be great. We are seeing incredible miracles, and it's only going to get better and better. We are in historic times. We're at the end of days. There's no question about it. Things may be difficult and may be challenging, but they're there to get out our personal greatness, our personal strengths. And if we can show Hashem that we know that this land does not work in a natural way, that we can fully rely on Him, Hashem will respond in kind, return the hostages to us in full health. Full to the extent that it's possible at this point. And He will protect our soldiers, and He will protect our country, and He will protect our people, and He will bring Mashiach very soon, speedily, in our time. Have a good Shabbos.